I grew up believing my father trusted vaults more than hugs. He wasn't cruel, he was notarized. Receipts in labeled envelopes. Oil changes at exactly 3,000 miles. Birthday cards with a crisp 20 and the same line every year. Proud of you, Dad. When he passed this spring at 78, the funeral director called him a man of order. That sounded right and lonely. He left me the house and a key stamped Valley First Bank, SDB 1187, safety deposit box, fitting. The manager slid the gray rectangle onto a felt table and left me alone with it, as if grief were a private appointment. Inside wasn't much: a plain manila envelope, a Polaroid, and a cashier's check for $72,000 made out to Harper Reeves and dated April 10th, 2003. The Polaroid showed my mother, young and tan in a red sundress, holding a baby who wasn't me. On the back, my father had written in tidy blue ink, Harper, 6 months. Harper. I was born in 1973. The date on the check said 2003, 30 years between us. I unfolded the letter. Kelly, if I did this wrong, I'm sorry. I kept my promises 2 ways and hurt everyone anyway. In 1972, before we were married, I was engaged to a woman named Mara Reeves. We split. She moved to Los Angeles. Months later, she wrote to say she'd had a baby, Harper. She swore I wasn't the father. I married your mother. Years passed. Then in 2002, a lawyer called. Mara had died, and Harper wanted to know if I'd take a test. I did. The results said 97.9% probability. I sent money for school and told her I was an old mistake who didn't want to ruin any more lives. She wrote back that I was a life, not a ruin. I didn't answer. This check is what I owed her times 4. The photo is the only time your mother met Harper. Your mother insisted. If you have more courage than I did, find Harper and tell her I ran out of it. I stared at the proof of a life my father balanced like a ledger item. I barely remembered the day in the picture. Desert sky, warm wind, my mother's hair loose for once. I do remember Dad being quieter than usual, like a man walking past a dog he's sure will bite. The bank air felt cold. I took the envelope home, sat at the kitchen table, and Googled Harper Reeves, Los Angeles. There she was, a photographer with a studio near Echo Park. Black and white portraits, sunlight, and honest faces. I called. A woman answered with a smile in her voice and said, Harper speaking. I told her my name. Silence stretched, then snapped. Kelly, she said slowly. I haven't heard that name connected to mine in 20 years. I have a letter, I said, and a check. She laughed. One wet, shocked sound. He saved it? After all that? He saved it. I drove to Los Angeles the next morning. Monsoon clouds stacked over the desert, bruised and beautiful. At the studio, Harper stepped into the light. My mother's cheekbones on a stranger's face. My father's careful eyes softened by someone who says yes to son. We hugged, unsure of where to put our arms. She made coffee in a dented kettle and said, I brought a box. Inside were letters from Mara, a copy of the test results, and a Polaroid twin to mine. My mother handing Harper a stuffed rabbit. On the back, Mom's handwriting. If he won't be brave, I will. Your mother was kind, Harper said. She told me he loved order because chaos terrified him. She said we were both his, which meant we were both hers. Did you hate him? I asked. I tried, she said, but the check stung worse than the silence. Money is a bridge you can drive across, or a toll booth where you never stop. He sent me a toll booth. She traced the edge of the photo. Still, I finished school. I built this place. I didn't do it because of him. I did it anyway. I slid the check across the table. He meant it for you, with interest. She pushed it back. Keep half for your mother's kindness. Donate the rest to somewhere messy. He was always trying to make life balance. Let it feed chaos for once. A shelter. A scholarship for kids who don't know who will show up for them. We closed the studio early and walked Echo Park Lake. She told me about Mara. Brilliant and footloose. The kind of woman who could make a life from pocket change and a song. I told her about Dad's receipts and the way he looked at birthday cake like it was an audit. At sunset, Harper said, "I don't need a father now. I could use a sister." She grinned. I've never had someone to send bad memes to at 2 a.m. We stood on the footbridge and took a selfie. Two women finding the same nose and letting it be a gift. I texted the photo to my husband with one line, "Meet your sister in chaos." Back in Phoenix, I visited my mother's grave and tucked both Polaroids under the vase for a moment. "You were brave," I told her stone. "I'll try to be too." Then I mailed a stack of checks. Half to Harper, half to a domestic violence shelter Mom used to support quietly. A note on each, from a man who ran out of courage, and the women who didn't. I still keep the safety deposit key on my ring. Not because I plan to use it, because it reminds me that vaults are for valuables, not for people. People belong in photographs on mantles, at kitchen tables with coffee rings, calling at odd hours to say, "Are you awake?" And yes, I am now.